Hello and welcome back to Bookmark Chronicles, and welcome to the best books that I read in 2024. So I'm going to go through some honorable mentions, and then the rest of them are in no particular order. I do technically have a best book of the year. If you follow me on Instagram, then you know that I update my bracket as we go through the months of the year, and I'll point out that book when I get to it, but these are all books that I rated either 4.75 stars or 5 stars. So first we'll go with the 3 nonfictions that I have, the first of which is You Got Anything Stronger by Gabrielle Union. This is actually her second memoir. The first one is We're Going to Need More Wine, and in this one she goes a little bit more into detail about certain things that she didn't really talk about in the first book. I like her as an actress. I follow her on social media. She is an activist for a lot of things and honestly seems like a really chill person, but it was just nice to get to know her a little bit more, and I enjoyed reading about her life. Then we have Handbook for a Post-Roe America. Obviously, with Roe v. Wade being overturned in the States, this was a very timely read. I've had this for a few years, and this was written before the actual Supreme Court ruling, but it is very useful. It's full of information about different resources state by state that people may need. So if that is something that sounds interesting to you, I would definitely recommend. And my last nonfiction is Freedom is a Constant Struggle by Angela Davis. I mean, you really can't go wrong with anything by Angela Davis, but in this one specifically, it is a group of essays where she talks about how different struggles are linked together, and a lot of it is tied to Palestine, which was also very timely, which is why I wanted to pick it up. So, and if you're interested in nonfiction and things that relate to current events, then I would also recommend that one. And my last honorable mention is a sci-fi, but it was a reread, and that was Iron Widow. So I've talked about this so much on my channel. I'm not going to go into detail about it right now. However, I read this in order to prepare for the next book in the series, Heavenly Tyrant, which, if you watched, was one of my most disappointing reads of the year. Still not bad. I think I rated it 3.5 stars, but definitely not as good as this one. Okay, so first I'm gonna go through all the books that I do not have physical copies of. Starting off with Sword of Kaigen. So it's a standalone fantasy. However, you do end with a few questions, which is why this one in particular was rated 4.75 stars. But in this, we're following different members of this family. One is a young boy who is in school. He is learning how to be a very powerful warrior, just like his father and his uncles and his grandfathers. However, there's a new kid in his school who is talking about things outside of their country that just don't seem to make sense. And he is learning things about the world that no one talks about and that are really changing his worldview. Then we have his mother, who used to be a very powerful warrior. However, in this society, women are supposed to be housewives. They're supposed to be seen and not heard. And she struggles with that a lot, but something happens where she needs to tap into her warrior expertise, and we follow them from there. I really love the mother's perspective. I wasn't a huge fan of the son, but you do end up caring a lot about him as well. The family dynamics were really interesting, and there is like a little bit of a redemption arc that happens that I wasn't a huge fan of because I'm not a big fan of redemption in general, but I really enjoyed this book. I do know that there is a spin-off series. I think it's a trilogy following someone that we meet sort of at the end of this book, and it's a little further down the line. I don't think I'm interested in reading that though, but this was a really fun read and I'm glad that I read it. Then we have Stroke of Luck by Phoenix Collins. This is book 1 in the Men of Nirvana series. I had an arc of this from the author, and it is about a girl named Lucky. She's a dancer. So she's a college student. She was on a cheer scholarship. She got injured, lost her scholarship, and started dancing at a nightclub to put herself through school. One night, she's waiting for her boyfriend to pick her up after her shift, and he is nowhere to be found. So one of the owners of the club is getting ready to leave, sees that she's still standing outside, and offers to give her a ride. Of course, her boyfriend shows up at that moment, is livid for no valid reason, tries to get into this guy's face, and it just does not go well. Our main character, Lucky, ends up having to find another place to stay, and Carter, her boss, offers for her to stay with him. This is a billionaire romance. It's really cute. It's really short. It's a super easy read. I loved it. Rated it 5 stars. Book 2 is coming out in the summer, and I'm really looking forward to it. Then I read Can't Catch Me by Alexandra Warren. This is the first book in the Houston Skyhawks series. This is a football romance. It's friends to lovers, and our main character, Brianna, is returning to her hometown after some time. She and her former best friend, I cannot remember his name right now, lost contact after college, and they end up reuniting. This was the first time that I read anything by Alexandra Warren, and I absolutely want to read more because not only was the story good, but it was just funny as hell. There were so many times where I was laughing at things that the characters were doing and saying, and I really wasn't expecting that. I wasn't expecting to have such a good time with it overall, but I really enjoyed it, and I'm really excited to read the next book in the series. Then I read Where We Found Our Home, the first book in the Lost and Found series by Natasha Bishop. This one is about Sierra, who is on the run from something or someone we don't really know. She settles down in this town where she meets Lincoln, who is a local firefighter. This one feels very romantic suspense, and I kind of like that aspect of it. I thought it was really cute. I really appreciated the found family aspect. There are supposed to be 5 books in this series, and currently 3 are published. And the last book that I don't have a copy of is Wyatt by Asia Monique. This is the first book in the Barlow Mafia family series, which is a spin-off to Mafia Misfits. Y'all know I love my mafia romances. In this one, we're following Wyatt and Analia, who are in an arranged marriage to form an alliance between their families. Analia is deaf, and so we have that representation. I've not heard any complaints about the representation, so hopefully that is a good sign. But what I love about Wyatt the most is that he will absolutely shoot anyone who disrespects his wife, and he does that more than once, and we love to see it. All right, now on to books that I actually do have. The first, which was actually my very first read of 2024, is The First to Die at the End by Adam Silvera. This is the prequel to They Both Die at the End. This one is much longer than the other book, but still a good time, still an easy read. In this one, we're following one of the very first people to ever get a call from Deathcast. Deathcast is a company that will call you on your death day and let you know that you are going to die in the next 24 hours. They don't know when and they don't know how, they just know that it's going to happen. Well, I did really enjoy this, and it was really cool not only to see the first few people who get that call, but also the creator of Deathcast and what he was dealing with during that time. I think that it would be really cool if we got more insight into how it works. So I'm hoping that if he continues to write in this world that he does that, because I just have questions that I want answers. But if you enjoyed They Both Die at the End, then you will also enjoy this one. Then we have The Eternal Ones by Namina Forna. This is the final book in the Deathless series. The very first book is The Gilded Ones. I gave all 3 books in this series 5 stars. It is genuinely wonderful from beginning to end. In that first book, we are following a girl named Deka on the day of her ritual of purity, which is a yearly tradition where girls who turn like 13 have their blood tested. If your blood is red, you are considered pure, but if your blood runs gold, you're basically considered a demon and your village will outcast you. So that's what happens to our main character, and then someone comes to her and says, I can take you to a place where there are other girls like you and you can become a warrior for the emperor. So that is what she does. I love the found family in this series. It gives me similar feelings to what I got reading Raybearer. And with each book, you learn more about the world and what's really happening, and it literally keeps you on the edge of your seat from beginning to end. I absolutely love this series and will definitely be rereading it at some point. Next, I have the first 3 volumes of Spy Family. I only bought 3 because at the time that was all that I could find, and I definitely want to continue the series, but I enjoyed each one of these. I just think the series is such a fun time and I can't wait to continue. But in this, we are following a spy who has a mission that requires him to have a wife and child. So he finds a fake wife and adopts a little girl, and the little girl is a telepath and his wife is actually an assassin. Nobody knows anybody else's secrets except for the little girl because she can read everyone's mind. But watching them try to figure out their life together and try to pretend to be this perfect family is fucking hilarious, and I love it. Then we have The Kiss Countdown by Etta Easton. This was my top read of 2024. It was such a feel-good story. It made me laugh so much. It's so cute. It has so many tropes that I enjoy. Fake dating, only one bed. It's so good and I love it so much. I'm so excited. There is a sequel coming out this year that I have an arc of. I haven't started it yet, but I will get to it very, very soon. In this, we're following an event planner and an astronaut who fake date because they run into each other at a coffee shop. Her ex is there. Because they had a previous interaction, she kind of just throws him under the bus and he just has to go with it. But then they also have to keep this act up for his family while they go on a trip. I really don't know how many more people I can tell to read this, but at this point, if you haven't yet, I don't know what you're waiting for, so get to it. And my last two books are a part of a series. It is Heiress of Roses and King of Ice, the final two books in the Cartel Elements series, the first of which is Heir of Flame, which was an honorable mention for my best of 2023. In Heiress of Roses, we're following Lexi, Adrian's twin sister. She is in an arranged marriage to their older brother Javi's ex-best friend Dante. Lexi is very much a cartel princess, but one who understands the way that the business works. Like, she is in charge of certain parts of it. She's not willing to dumb herself down for made men. She knows that a lot of men look at her as eye candy or just a trophy wife, and she is not about that at all. She's going to run shit whether you like it or not, and I love that about her. Lexi actually used to have a huge crush on Dante when she was younger, and Dante for a long time didn't really pay close attention to her because that's his best friend's little sister. But because of the fallout between him and Javi and the way that things are working now, he is 100% willing to support Lexi in anything that she does. He is obsessed with her and she just doesn't believe him. Dante is also very much a class clown, so he's kind of fucking annoying. He doesn't ever shut the fuck up, but he's still very sweet to her and I appreciate that. Then in King of Ice, we are following the oldest Ruiz, Javier, and his secretary, Brielle. Brielle has a very tragic past, one that she thought was behind her. However, someone from her past resurfaces and she needs protection. So Javier offers her an arranged marriage. Brielle is also a single mom, so she's also thinking about protecting her baby girl. I don't want to call him cold and emotionless, but he kind of is. His first interaction with Brielle's daughter, Chloe, is the cutest thing that I have ever read, and immediately I was hooked. I love the two of them together. This entire series is such a fun time. If you are a fan of cartel or mafia romances like I am, highly recommend. So those are all of my best books of 2024. I have one more video to wrap up my year of reading, which will be my 2024 edition of Reread, Rewrite, or Burn. So keep an eye out for that. Let me know what some of your favorite books of 2024 were. Otherwise, that's all I have for you today, and I'll see you in the next video.